this is Tony from World Spider Designs, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this cheerful card using your Stampers Roll, favourite floral dies and of course a little bit of ink. For this tutorial I have pre-cut a 6.5 inch square card blank, 2 all-night squares measuring 5.5 and 4.5 inches, and we're going to start with an A5 sheet of release paper and our Stampers Roll. I really hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please remember to press the subscribe button. Let's get started. First, we are going to unwind our Stampers Roll to the same length as our A5 sheet of release paper. Now, as you can see, there is a little bit more tension on a Stampers Roll than there is on a sticky roll, but like all the rolls, it has its own resting point. So with the release paper, you have a shiny non-stick side and a matte side. And it's the shiny side that we're going to place down onto the Stampers Roll. Now don't worry about getting it in perfect alignment, and trim using either a craft knife or a pair of scissors. We're using the release paper on the back so that when we die cut with the Stampers Roll, the pieces will come away quickly and easily. If you don't have any release paper, then you can use some spare sticky roll liner. Add your dies and run through your die cutting machine. And now we're going to remove the cut shapes, and as you can see, they come away extremely easily because we've used the release paper. Remove any bits that haven't come out. Now you can do this with your fingers or a pair of tweezers, whichever you prefer. Now at this point, the pieces aren't going to feel very sticky at all, and you're probably going to wonder if it's actually going to stick back down. This is because Stampers Roll is a pressure activated tape, so the more pressure you apply when it's in contact with your project, the more firmly it's going to stay in place. But I'm going to show you some easy ways to do that in just a moment. So continue die cutting until you've got enough shapes to complete your card. And then take the 3 pieces that we've pre-cut and we can start applying the masks. You can pick up the masks with a pair of tweezers or your fingers, whichever feels easier, and place it in the correct position. And if you give it just a little tap as you go along, just to keep it in place while we get the other masks in position. And continue putting all the masks down until you're happy that everything's where it should be. Now I'm going to show you my first method of applying pressure to the masks, which is to take your Stampers Roll and roll it over your masks like a rolling pin. This is the easiest method, but I'll show you another way I use when we've finished placing all the masks onto the other layers of our card. As you can see, all the masks are nicely in position. We've applied more pressure by rolling over them with the Stampers Roll so they are firmly stuck down. Now generally the rolling pin method is enough pressure for the masks not to move when using blending brushes, but sometimes I can be a bit heavy-handed. So my second method of adding pressure to the masks is by running it through your die cutting machine. Depending on what make you have, either place it between your base plate and shim or in between some card, just so it doesn't get indented by any marks on your plates. As we can see, the pressure from the die cutting machine has fixed the masks firmly in place. And now we can move on to our inking. So, as per the norm with your blending brushes, load up your brush and start applying your ink over the masked areas. So repeat this step on all 3 pieces of card with your desired colours. I've chosen Spun Sugar, Mustard Seed and Broken China from the Tim Holtz Distress Inks range. For the sentiment, I'm using one of Sandra Rushton's stamps from her Positive Statement stamp set. They are really good quality stamps. They're really deeply etched, so they leave a good crisp impression. I definitely recommend them. So light tapping onto the stamp, and we're going to line it up. And it's a lovely sentiment. Time spent on what is important is not wasted, and I don't think crafting is ever time wasted. Very good for the soul. Now we're going to lift the masks up, and I like to do this with either a knife or a pair of tweezers. I find that the easiest way is to lift a few parts of the mask, and then gently peel it away. This will hopefully mean that the mask will come away in one piece, and then we can reuse it on another project. Simply store it on a piece of release paper or acetate, and continue to remove each mask piece by piece. And there we have beautiful masked effect. So we're going to put the card together, just make sure we're not making an Australian card, and it's going to open properly. So I'm going to use some silicone glue in a syringe because I just find it a lot easier to control. And I probably shouldn't bore you by lots of adhesive glue putting on, but I really do like my layers to have a lot of glue everywhere so they sit nicely and don't have any bends in them. So just going to line it up there. And then I find with silicone glue, if you just give it tiny gentle pats, so you're happy that everything's level with the silicone glue underneath. And then some people would prefer to wait until that layer is dry, but I think as long as you give gentle enough taps, then you can apply another layer while you're there. Because silicone glue is really good, it does respond to the gentlest of taps and it will all adhere properly and not completely flatten. So we're just going to line this one up. Now this is where I'm always so glad that I've got lines on my cutting mat, because especially with squares, they are so good to use, they're so handy. So we're just going to line that up. There we go, just position that properly. Yes, I am a bit pedantic when it comes to being exact, I'm afraid. And there we go, you can see beautifully where the masks were, and I think that's a very cheerful card.